So, here we are. Welcome back, everyone, to Thousand Week Reich China, Republic of China. Not the filthy things. And we have started our great war of liberation of moving southward towards the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. And we have supported in that when you do the focus, you support the uprising of the Vietnamese Republic, who, as you can see, bear a slight similarity in terms of flag to you. They are under the VNQDD, which are basically the Vietnamese KMT. And this opens up a whole path of the focus tree about the Vietnam War, which is what is going to happen now. So after the victory of the Civil War and the efforts of Syngman Rhee in Korea, although that's not true, the accursed Red Tide suffered a sound defeat in East Asia, with the bloated corpse of the Union bursting open. That's the Soviet Union in Europe as well. Now there remain only two more places bordering are subjugated by the Red Hordes, Mongolia and Vietnam. Of course, we know that that's not true, but, you know, the game developers don't know that. With our country still reeling from the ravages of the Civil War, we are... Let me see. We unfortunately have to rely on, or we have to focus on one target at a time. As such, the Generalissimo has declared that we are to strike the jungles of Vietnam first. So that begins the Vietnam War.
就是要建设我们一个民有、民治、民享的新的中国。
Despite being an integral part of the Republic, Guangxi, under Li Congren, has been declared off-limits for the Vietnamese expedition. While Li Congren's reasons are unclear, he states that the region of Guangxi is severely lacking in infrastructure and supplies, making it unsuitable for such an operation. While the central government is scrambling to reopen the front, Guangxi troops have already been assigned to guard the front. While the Generalissimo was infuriated to hear Li Congren's refusal to cooperate, he does not wish to provoke Li, and therefore allowing Li Congren and Guangxi to stay neutral during this conflict, as long as the border is defended and supply lines remain open. Conflict has returned to Southeast Asia, as an uprising by Chinese-backed anti-communist rebels in the north of Vietnam was followed very soon by artillery fire from Chinese forces across the border. Nanjing has announced its intention to support the freedom fighters of northern Vietnamese forces and the freedom of the Vietnamese people against the evil of communism. In response, the Vietnamese government, in a statement from Ho Chi Minh himself, has utterly denounced what it is considered nothing more than a full-scale Chinese invasion, begun by counter-revolutionary elements working directly for China. Urging the Vietnamese people to fight for their country, Ho declared that there would be no surrender and Vietnam would fight to the last to repel the Chinese invasion. So, this is where we are at the start, and the situation is rather simple. Rather simple indeed. So you have a front that immediately begins a little bit further than what you predict because of the Vietnamese Republic's uprising. So the Vietnamese have to retreat, and you have to pursue them. Now, the Vietnamese have a lot of excellent bonuses to defense, especially the Division Defense on Core Territory from Indochinese guerrillas. They have the Viet Cong militias, plus 20% Division Defense on Core Territory. So they are a tough nut to crack indeed. Which is why it's not 100% that you're actually going to win the Vietnam War. Now, of course, we need to call in the Vietnamese Republic so that we can use their territory to attack. And we are right outside Hanoi. So, first order of business is to take the city. Take the city and prevent the Vietnamese dogs from holding on to the Red River, I believe, is the river that runs through Hanoi. And they can obviously use the river to stage a defense, and we don't want that. So if we can get across right at the beginning of the war, that's going to be great. That's going to be great. And in this war, you have 720 days to win. You don't have an infinite amount of time to win this war, which obviously represents how, if it goes on for too long, then opposition to Chiang Kai-shek is going to mount within China itself. And that is quite obvious. Now, one thing that's good is the fact that the Vietnamese really don't have a lot of troops. Although the ones that they do have are going to be a lot stronger than ours. They can't really keep up if we just like continuously pound down Hanoi and eventually take the city. I somehow don't think that they're going to be able to hold it. A bunch of people are dying. To hold it for too long. As you can see, there's a okay. Yeah, they're taking a lot of punishment, but they're not completely dying. But my strategy is essentially to just cease fire in Vietnam. Oh, of course, the United Nations wants to end the war on their terms, like a ceasefire, I suppose, along the Red River, and of course we don't want that. We veto. Now, we are a part of the Security Council, which means that anything we say no to cannot be adopted, which is obviously quite great. And that's quite nice. Obviously, everyone else is going to be voting yes, but we don't particularly give a shit. And predictably, the UN Vietnam resolution fails. So the resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire in Vietnam, reaffirming Vietnamese sovereignty, and setting out a roadmap for China's eventual withdrawal of military forces from the country was brought into the assembly. There was little hope of this resolution passing, and now those hopes have been totally vanquished. So yeah, we're not going to let the foreign powers dictate our glorious Chinese foreign policy, of course, because we are a great independent nation and all that. A big issue is the fact that we don't have any air units. Revolution in Baghdad. Don't really have like a lot of air units, and the ones that we have are mostly fighters. We don't really have close air supports, which is what we need. Although I suppose it wouldn't hurt to just have air superiority. That's sure okay. Now, we realize that taking Hanoi itself from the start is going to be a little bit difficult because they have free land forts. So we're going to go around them and see first if we can encircle these Vietnamese units to the north, and then attack Hanoi from both the east and the northwest, which should hopefully provide a much better storming round into the city. There we go. We've made our first gain in this war, and it's been 5 months essentially since the war started. This is how brutal the Vietnam War is in Thousand Week Reich. It is not an easy thing. Now I'm going to try to exploit this advantage as early as possible, or as much as possible rather, and get down into the soft underbelly of Vietnam. And now the UN is voting to get a ceasefire in the Indonesian revolution. Now, I don't know how long you have. I don't know how long you have to vote for this, because if the Indonesians are winning, we definitely want the Indonesians. Oh, actually, they're Marxist-Leninists, so turns out, yes, I am in favor of the ceasefire. Definitely, I don't want more Reds taking over in Asia, of course. Alright. We actually couldn't move towards the border. It was a little bit too fortified itself, and so now the time has come to take Hanoi. And with the attack from three flanks, we are able to bring to bear a lot of combat with, so hopefully that's going to be enough to destroy these forces. And there goes the Indonesian ceasefire, thereby salvaging the Dutch slightly in their situation. Not really going to save the Dutch in the long term, but if that stalls developments there. Germany wants us to attend the death party of Hitler, and sure, we're gonna send over Jiang Weiguo, who was Chiang Kai-shek's son, and he was also an officer in the Chinese army who actually went to Germany to get trained. So we do have kind of a German connection in the Jiang family. And there we go, we are in Hanoi itself. So the fall of the northern capital of Vietnam doesn't really destroy them, however. They are still going to be holding on to dear life.
Hanoi wasn't like any battle ever fought before or after. The Vietnamese hid in houses and underground. There was no way to fight with normal tactics. After a while, we just started shelling the houses with big guns. Must have taken years of digging after the war to bring out all the corpses, rubble.
And that's a bit of a problem. That's a bit of a problem, you see, because the bloody Vietnamese are a tough nut to crack, as you probably realized already. And so, moving on forward, in time to destroy... Oh, don't look at those things. In time to destroy them in 500 days might be a little bit difficult, so a change in plans might be necessary, but we'll see about that. As the German sphere explodes, of course. As you might have noticed, I tried one grand push, but we couldn't break even a single Vietnamese province. Now, if I turn my attention towards this place south of Hanoi, maybe we might be able to break through. But again, even here, there is just too much in terms of land forts to deal with. So what's going to happen is I'm going to have to research transport ships, which you don't start with. game kind of fucks with you there. If you don't start with transport ships, you cannot do naval invasions. But we are going to do a naval invasion because right now naval invasion is absolutely necessary. Oh my god. And I'm going to trade with the United States to get fuel to do a naval invasion. I have another massive army, well, massive army of really shitty units that would be very, very useless. Very, very useless, believe me. They'd be incredibly useless in an actual fight on the ground. But what we can do is group them up and get down to business.